Round 16, best buys, take 2. Now, the Who's Hot list. Duncan, Campbell, Hughes, Bostock, Farnworth, and Jed Stuart all over 1%, with Duncan taking the cake following his beautiful 70-odd, which hurt my soul. But it seems to be the guys that are coming off really, really big scores of the players being bought. And now you have to look at these guys and go, are they worth it this week after their big score? Duncan, Campbell, both in the 70s, Hughes in the 80s, Bostock the ton, Farnworth 99, and then Jed Stuart is the cheapie of the week there at 230k. So we will go through from hooker all the way down to the cheapies. I'll try and get the timestamps out as quick as I can. Hopefully the ones are out for the fire sale video. So go check that one out as well. All right, with these beautiful players, we got J.Brailey up top, 624k, and he's been brought in by a few teams. Now, following that really, really big 89 last week, you saw the 3 weeks before that in the 40s, and my worry with buying him now, guys, is that you're getting him priced at 46, and if he hits 40s again, then it would be a bad buy. Now, the biggest change for him last week was the fact that he went out to 122 run meters, getting out of dummy half, made 2 line breaks, where all of the other weeks are 20s, 30s, 40s for the most part, with 2 60-meter games, which both of those got him to a 58 and also a 50. So if he was to start running the footy more, then he could definitely be an option. But I think we have to wait and actually see it happen. If he pumps out an 80 again, he probably gets a bit too expensive, but shows that he can do it. I just think it's a bit of a flash in the pan. The 33 break even, he could only just beat that and just be a bit annoying in your side. Doesn't play around 18. So for me, he would be a no. Next person on the list, I forgot to click through, was I.Katoa. 630k for him. He is a bit of a flyer that you could take if you wanted to. At that price point of 47, we see him here have a decent amount of upside with a 70 in there, the 59, the 103, and then the 56 in the last game he played. But what the worry is with him is the minutes. Talon De Silva has returned this week and potentially will take some minutes away from the 80 minutes that he had played in the previous 3 weeks, and also the 86 minutes in round 8. So if he was to lose some minutes, then I think it could really hurt him. If he keeps this 80, then he probably has a slight bit of upside on his price point right now. Is he someone that you want to take a flyer on that does miss just 1 game from here to the house, but is maybe a little bit under guys like definitely a lot under guys like Aaron Clark? Do you want to wait to maybe get like a Connor Watson or Harry Grant following Origin? These types of players there could be of interest. And I think if you buy Appy now, you're buying him for the whole season, just like you would be for J.Brailey. J.Brailey, 333k. At the moment, he's got the starting 9 role with Phoenix Crossland in 13. But I do see a few of their forwards coming back and hurting his prospects a little bit, Jaden, in his starting hooker role. Now, he was able to play it 3 times this year, round 6, round 8, and then in round 15 there. And they all produce really nice scores above 40. And where he's priced so low, that can be really helpful. But when you are buying Jaden, there is the worry that he loses his spot. But if, let's just say, he keeps it for 4 games, yes, he's going to make some money, but then you're probably going to have to sell him. So is it using him as a cash cow? You're not using him for round 18 because he misses that. I'm just not sure if it's worth it. But I've had a few people ask about him, so I wanted to touch base. Donoghue, the fun one of the week now. Price of 38. We got to look at his middle scores, and you see games off the interchange bench here. Anytime where he has sort of that 20 plus tackle number, that's when you know he's played in the middle. And you're seeing here PPMs of like 0.7, 0.65, the 25 and 41 minutes, the 36 and 52, 30 and 40 for a 0.75 ppm. These are all okay scores, but let's look at the minutes now at the lock position, 70 and 59. So if you can assume that he's going to be somewhere between the 59 and the 70, and he has a 0.65, a 0.7 type of ppm, which you can see here in round 14, he had 41 in the 70 minutes. So that was pretty low, but then scored a try last week for his 59. So you take that away and he is down to that 0.7, which is what you can expect regularly. And now if it's there, in that 0.7 mark and he plays somewhere in the 65-minute range, then you are looking at a score in the sort of low to mid 40s, which price at 38 can be helpful. With the duel is fun too, but he misses 2 games at the next 6. So is that a player that you want or need in your side that probably isn't a top tier gun at 514k? I'm not sure. I don't think it is, but it could be someone that can work out for you, but probably not a spectacular type of pick there is Kurt Donoghue. Aaron Clark, guys, 790k for him. I just think he's the best hooker in the game right now that we can buy. Yes, he's expensive. Yes, he's priced at 59, but he's been hitting 60 plus games for fun. Now, the last 2 have been 55 and 50. I think the rest will be really helpful for him, and he'll be able to come back and hopefully get back into that sort of anywhere in that 55-minute roll to 60 is going to be good for him. Missing Barnett from the side, there's still those high minutes to be grabbed. Some weeks he won't have to, like in round 14 against the Sharkies there, where they won 40-10 and they're leading into a bye. Other weeks he'll have to play the 60 plus. So he's just so consistent, has the duel, just misses the 1 more game in round 18. But if you have Jazz Tavanga, if he's just your guy and you're missing out on a hooker for this week, I would try and buy Aaron Clark. He'll be a keeper all season and the best hooker at that. For Tallis Duncan, 507k, same price basically as Kurt Donoghue, price point of 38. With him, what we have seen this year, well, let's just go all games for him in the second row, just to give us a good idea. It's 47.5 in 79 minutes across this year and last year. If you just take that to 2025, then you've got the 47.8. So we see here he has upside games. He also has 30s and 20s in his, in his chances, in his rolling scores, in his average scores as well. So in his range of scores. Thank you, Jamie. So 47.8, basically 10 points of value on where he's at. He has the dual position. He plays round 18. So if you need someone that is going to make a bit of cash, if you need someone for round 18, I suggest him to be a really good buy. If you don't have someone, a need in mid or edge for round 18, then maybe he's less of a buy. Or if you're sitting pretty near, in the top 1,000 or so, you've probably got a good squad value. So you may not need him for the cash gains as well. So conserve a purpose for all different people. See if it fits you. See if you need a scorer this week or something like that. He's an easy straight swap in that mid-range price to get you a good deal. The thing with him, you are going to get some lower scores. You are going to get some higher ones. And against Melbourne, not sure if it's going to be a good one this week or he's going to get plenty of work defensively. Like if he can keep that decent tackle number of high 30s to go along with near 100 meters, he should be sweet, really. So Tallis, a really fun one this week and one of the better buys. Adam Fanua-Blake at 720k, averaging 56.7, which is great. And the big thing with him is you've got 280 scores plus in the past 4 games for him. And the minutes have increased again following that quad niggle or groin niggle he had, and then the shoulder issue as well following that. So good to see that since that time, and especially since they got a week off, he's managed to play 64 minutes and 67. So good news there. They need him to continue scoring well and playing well, given the team is in a bit of a rut. Now for Adam, he has 2 buys remaining. So if you were to be buying now, he doesn't help you in round 18. Do you need it? He'll help in round 19, which is great. When you might have Tarpanay and these types of players, Colin Matungi, it's a position, the mids in round 19, you do need to have a little look at. If guys like, Payne Hasty holding back up, these types of things. So he'll be great for the rest of the year. He'll be one of the top 5 or so mids. So is that worth it for you now, or do you just go a different direction? Either one, I think, is fine. Big Nelson, 459k for him, priced at 34. Does have a season average of 40.4, which includes that 22-minute interchange game with 3 errors, 2 missed tackles. But other games there, he's been really, really good. So 66, 37, 33, and a 61. So we know that the 30-odd is in his range of outcomes. We know that the 60 is in there as well. And you look last year, similar thing could happen. One game he gets 20 minutes and 14. He goes 41 and 33, couple of 30s, played big minutes for 68 minutes for 42, 22 and 41. So he can have games that are all over the shop. He seems to play really well for a month of footy. Was that month of footy the last 4 games, or shall we see a few more good games? At 459k, it's cheap enough to find out. I personally think that Duncan would be a slightly safer pick at a little bit more of a price point, but does miss round 19 where Nelson could help you in that way. Seems solid, but doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence on the other side. Fish Harris, easy confidence guy here if you want to feel good about it. Priced at 42, consistently hitting over 50, and that 8 is really dragging him down. So he's had one score when he's played decent minutes, under 50, and the rest have been just above that. Misses one game the rest of the season. Could definitely be a low-end keeper for you. If you buy Fish now, I think you hold him for the rest of the year, and he just does a job for you as like an interchange guy when we are full strength. Yeah, right now he's going to be pretty important. Helps in round 19 as well. Misses round 18. No Barnett, so minutes-wise, he's the leader, and he should be sweet in that 50 to 56 minutes. Pretty regularly here. So a good pick if you are fine for round 18, more thinking about round 19. And yeah, it's more a question like how many of the top guns are you going to get in mid, and how many mids do you want in general who are going to score 50 plus? Do you want 5 of them? Do you want 3 or 4? Do you want 6? Like, it could be a bit aggressive. So more suits for your team. Do you love watching him play? All those types of things. E.Katoa at 697. He's the edge to buy this week if you are looking for an out-and-out keeper. At 697k, priced a little bit under where he's averaging at 54.3. And the last month, 5 weeks, has been awesome. 6 weeks even. 55, 72, 55, 52, 54, and 64 with 3 tries in that time. And just the 1 line break. So his consistency has been awesome. And with no buys to go, he's a very, very safe pick in your edge position. Now, for Katoa, you need to compare him to Preston, in my opinion. With Preston having a bye this week, it's then a head-to-head shootout between him and Katoa. Do you want to spend the near 100k less on Katoa, or do you want to spend a little bit more on Preston and probably expect a slightly better average across the season? Is the 100k more worth it more to you? The extra game this week, that type of stuff, in making your decision if you want a gun edge. But Katoa, really, really fun. He had a few lower ones, 40s to 25 earlier on the season, but he's really rounded out his game consistency-wise with tackles and just continuing decent run meters at sort of 140 plus. So if he keeps with that, he's going to get the offloads like he has been and get those tackle busts as well. For Bowie Fermor, the 690k man, priced at 51 with the 55 average. So similar to Garrick in a way where he's priced a lot lower than where he can score. And it's because of that upside game of 109 that really brings him up. With the last 5 games for him, highest score of 59. So a couple of 40s in there. Just brings his price down a little bit. So it's in a good spot now that he's not playing Origin. Not likely anyway, with Kurt Capel absolutely dominating. Got the couple of good games here where he can get some upside out of him. Has that one bye in round 18, but then it's good for the rest of the season as your second or third center and as like a third edge pretty comfortably, or a second edge there, averaging 55. So he's in a spot that's at a price that's very similar to E.Katoa, but has that center duel as his helper, basically. So really safe, really strong play that should do well. I'd talk about Wong because a few people are buying after his really good score. Now, the worry with Siwa is that he goes back to this big stretch of games where he couldn't get close to 40 tackles. 32, 34, 25, 34, 34, and 36 before going 60 and 57. So something's changed, but he also had some really good games like that with a 54 in round 3. Is that something that's going to stick around? I'm not sure. Is the attacking stat, that sneaky try, will that stay? His offloads have kind of slowed down, but his tackle numbers have raised the last few weeks, and they used him plenty last week. Now, I'm not sure if that was because they had a few guys out with Origin, but I thought he ran really hard and he did a good job. So he's building into an important player in this team, priced at 48. Still feels like he's just a clear hold rather than a buy, given I own him, but I'm very happy with those scores. I'm just worried that he goes back into the 40s like he was for a month or so. But if these tackle numbers stay like Riley Smith, then that will be great. For Britton Nikora, 529k, the scores before this 73 just are so tough. 40s, 30s, basically, with 153 in there all the way up until round 5, where he got a 59. So for him, priced at 39 with the buy in round 18 and in round 25, still feels like you'd probably just go for Duncan and these types of guys that are a little bit cheaper that help you in 18. But again, if you don't need that help in that week and you want it in 19, Nikora could be the play, but he could also hurt you, I think, and continue to score low. Jack Howarth next up at 407k. He has the dual position, edge and centre, and he's lost a little bit of cash to start the year. He got up to 486 and has dropped down to 407 and probably goes down a slight bit further with a break even in the mid 40s. Since that injury that he copped, got the 14 in that injury week, 27 and 30 in his 2 games since. They were in games where they actually won pretty comfortably. But the big thing here is that he's only got 1 try this year. He has 5 try assists and 4 line breaks. Very limited on the tackle breaks. Has only got 2 offloads as well. And meters gained the last month or so has been a bit down after being improved and pretty solid in that first 3 weeks. So the reason you would buy Jackie Howarth is that we know that he can have good scores. You saw here pretty consistent over the last couple of months since he got into the side last year. And if the Storm Boys go on a bit of a run, like their run of games that they have is fine. If they start using that left pretty well, like Munster's looking pretty good, then he's a guy that you could grab at under 400k and hold for the rest of the year, loop him, make some decisions around that for a player that should play every single one of these games. That is a upside young fella. So that's where you look at Jackie Howarth. I'm not personally looking at him for this week. See how he goes. I'm going to make my decision closer to around 18. But if you need someone at this price point, he'll be fine. Longer term, I think he'll get there. Jaden Campbell, 731. We're into the halves, and we're into the halves now. He is just a guy that you're going to want long term. So with that average of 60, he's priced down to 54, which is great, considering a couple of lower scores in there before the awesome score there of 75 on the weekend. So he's in a spot where he's one of the best players in the game. Anytime you can buy these types of players, you're in a great spot. So Campbell, the run for them, generally fine over the next month or so. Para, Cowboys, bye, Broncos, Tigers, that's all fine before it gets that slight bit harder. But yeah, he's a guy that you're going to want long term, and no better time than now. Which is fairly similar to Jerome Hughes, but he still doesn't have, it's not like he has a negative break even following that 86, because he's got a 19 and a 46 in that rolling there with that 86. So next week it should be a bit higher, a bit lower of a break even. If he comes out and gets 50 or 55 or 60, that break even will probably be lower than 26, because you're starting to push out that 19, which is in there. But the worry with Hughes is all these previous games. 40s, lots of 40s, with a 60 in there with a try, 2 line breaks, try assists as well. 2 tries, 2 try assists, 3 line breaks on, in that last game against the Cowboys. Their run is completely fine as well. And I think he's going to be pretty important for round 18. So he's someone that isn't very highly owned right now, that has upside. 2024 was a spectacular year for him. Got lots of tries. If he wasn't scoring tries, he was tackle busting, kicking plenty, line breaking, all the good stuff there. So Hughes is a guy that I think, with the upside at the price point of 43, he can help your season go along. He could also just hit sort of a low 40s average like he has this year and struggle a bit. But he's been carrying injuries, and he's definitely someone that has that upside that could help, as I said. It shouldn't hurt you too much. I.Katoa, 777k. He'll be the second best half that you want. The other guys like JC averaging 60. You'll probably use him in wing fullback. So for Isaiah there, you're going to want him at some point. But the question with him, both him and Herbie, I'll talk about them together, is that they're 2 guns in their position. Herbie is the best in his, just a little bit better than Lucas. And then Katoa is like second best in his. I've actually just got some news, guys, just after I did film the Howarth and Sells video about Nathan Cleary. So he'll be number 1 in the half position, but apparently he hurt his groin goal kicking on Tuesday. So he probably won't goal kick in round 17. Hopefully by round 19 and 20. When we really need Cleary, if we're holding on to him, then he's back goal kicking, which seems to be the case. Like if you can have some rest time somewhere in there this week would be helpful, then hopefully he's good to go come then. So that was the news on Cleary that we just got from Fizz, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Katoa, Farnworth, both great picks. Do you grab them now with a buy in 18 and a buy in 21? Or do you wait until around 19, 20 or 22 to jump on Katoa, who a little bit less crazy upside than what Herbie has, but is consistently hitting 60 plus at the moment, and averaging 59, but beating that on a regular basis at the moment. So a great pick. Do you want him now or do you want him later, basically? Farnworth, the same deal. 814k, just has that higher upside. We've seen 99s from him. We've seen one last year. We saw a ton at the back end. We saw another 94. So he has that really crazy upside, and their run is still fine. So Herbie, do you want him now, or will you wait? Hopefully, and hope that he comes down. That's a tough one. Like, it hurt you last week. Will you allow that to continue and hope that it doesn't burn? Payne Haas was a similar situation. The weeks that he didn't burn you or me, and then there were weeks where he did. Now, Wong a few people are buying him, which is completely fine. 581k helps for round 18 in either position, wing, fullback or centre, and he'll be one of the better guys to have for that week. But do you want to buy someone near 600k that's slightly under full keeper status? And do you forego that and go for a different guy? Like Haraz, do you go for Drinkwater instead? Do you go for Garrick? These types of players here. So he's really solid. The team's solid. Generally, he's going to be a fine pick, but you really want it to stay here in this zone here in the high 40s, 50s, 60s, where he's scoring tries regularly. And now he can do that against Cows, Tigers, Dragons, but longer term, do you want to keep him? Maybe. I'm just not sure. So a decent pick. Bostock, if you need a cash down, mid-range type of player that will make money, it's Jack Bostock at 403. But the question here is, how long does he continue making money following this 103? If he goes back to high 20s or 30s or doesn't score a try one week, he got a -1 in 80 minutes one game. There's 19 in there, there's 11. If he goes back into anywhere near that territory, then his cash gains quickly stop and he starts to lose back that money. He could easily get to 500k, but then does he start going backwards? Do you hold him all year? He misses 2 games, 18 and 21. It's an interesting situation for Jack as to, if you're buying him now, do you just hold him the year or do you try and hope that he goes really well over the next few weeks and you can write him up and then sell to a gun? Either one could be the case. We just don't know. And then Teddy at 716k. Yes, the break even is a little bit higher there. He's coming off a 51, a 69 and a 53. So we know that he's going to be one of the top 3 or 4 gun wing fullbacks. He's very helpful with these teams that he plays against over the next few weeks in Cowboys, Tigers, Dragons. The bye next week, can you cover that? But following that, he's one of the top guns, so you'll probably want him. Reece Walsh is a fun pick there at 473. His break even is in the mid-30s, priced at the same at 35 there. And you can see this is his highest score of the year last game, and he got them all at the end, and they won by 30. So against Cronulla, against the Warriors, against the Dogs, is it going to be good scores for him? Does Ponga get dropped from Origin? I don't know. He wasn't very good under the high balls. Do they trust Walsh a bit more? I'm not sure. If Walsh has a couple of good games here, he could make that team. And then misses in round 20 as well. It's an interesting one. You could take a flyer on him at 473k. You could wait for Turbo in round 17 or 18. There's a few different things you can do. It's a risky play. Can he continue getting the tries and the try assists? 54 with 2 tries and a try assist is a bit rough, but that is Reece Walsh to a T. Pappenhausen, great for the rest of the year, but is he a top tier keeper? I have him in the top 6 for wing fullbacks, but is that someone you want? We've got Fletcher Sharp in there as well, who we mentioned in the holds and sells video. 641 for Pap. this 50 average I actually probably expect for the rest of the year with an up and down type of scenario. Got 22 in his last 3 games, 59, 100, 42, 39, high 50s, a 70. So he's got the odd really good game and he's got some lower ones as well. So that's wing fullback. So he's just a little bit more up and down than someone like Teddy is normally. So Pap, something to think about with him. A fun pick for the rest of the year. Has the goal kicking in a good spot. Got some rest this week. Good, I think, overall. But is he a top tier guy? No. Is that enough for you? Is it fun? Yeah, I love watching him play, but I'm looking for guys that play around 18, and he's one of them. So he comes into calculations. But do you want to get him at 641? Do you prefer to get Drinkiest 550 if you don't own him? So a few questions there. And the 4 cheapies to finish. 230k for Jed Stuart. Averages 23.5 in Cup. Likely keeps his spot for a bit. It's got Tigers, Newcastle, St George. It's not a tough run at all. So he's someone that you can take a flyer at 230, hoping he keeps his spot for a while. Helps you out when you need it, and is just a cash down to help you fund other moves. So Jed, a very easy pick this week, but don't expect the world like what's happened with Nathan Lawson, basically. Talakai is next, 295k for him. He likely has this starting spot for between 4 to 6 weeks as Harodi's injury, but they have a buy in there around 18, so that's the one that hurts. Do you need around 18 centre? And if the answer is yes, then you may not want Talakai. You may want to spend a bit more up to Howarth or go to a gun. He's going to go back to the bench afterwards. So in, let's just say, the Roosters game in round 20, he's probably back there. So you might get 3 games out of him. You may get 4. But then, the week you probably want him is round 18, maybe round 19. Or if you need him as help this week, that might be the reason why you buy. So there's no foolproof system buying him, but could be fun because he has good scores in the centres across his career. He's got a ton in there. Last year, 31, 58, and 39. So lots of good things to say about him. Latu Fainu there with 269k. That bench roll seems like he's continued with that, but that was 35 in 44 minutes, 27 tackles, and 77 run meters. So if he can stay anywhere near that, he could do well enough, be a looper in round 18, serve a purpose as that helpful role at some point, and then as just a cash down to help you fund other trades. So Latu, fairly simple with him. Helpful in his own way. And then Karapani is probably the more fun out there pick that if he keeps his spot over Cobbo, unsure if that's going to happen or not. Cobbo's been dropped the last couple of weeks. He's in the reserves. So 297k. We know he has some decent scores in there, mid-20s, high 40s, couple of 40s, and a 50. Yes, scored 2 tries to get his 49, but that is what happens with wingers in the Broncos. We saw Jesse Arthurs have a really good time of it, and Karapani could be the same under 300k, help you around 18. With the lower break even, it kind of feels like you need to make the move this week, but you could also get burnt by it and hope Cobbo comes back or whatever else. So a hard one to lock in, but should be generally a decent pick. Some downside with losing the spot, but some upside if he keeps it, that he'll do a good job for you. So that's round 16, guys. The best buys for this week. A lot of it's all nuance and how it fits your team. So that's where the private group helps best. You get to ask me one-on-one questions, show me your team, trades, everything you got left, cash in the bank, and we can develop a one-to-one answer for you and what's best for your team right now. So if you want to interested in that, guys, in the description is how to join. $25 for the rest of the season. Good luck with your trades this week, and we'll see you for my trades video tomorrow.